Hello everyone out there and welcome to Kent's Counterpoint. I am the author, Kent Anderson, Norwegian author, and I'm sending directly here on YouTube. No, on Facebook. It's direct on Facebook, yes. No cuts, no nothing. I'll just be talking about ammonia today because turns out that ammonia is the new oil here in Norway. Yes, we are going to save the planet. We're going to save the planet with ammonia, and the government here in Norway is possessed with ammonia. You see, the climate measures, these measures that's going to save us all and save the climate. They turns out they are following fashion waves. First it was climate trading, carbon trading. And then came hydrogen, and then came biodiesel, this was going to save us all. And then came saving energy, and then came batteries. Batteries is going to be big. And then that sort of soured, and then wind power was coming along, and then that didn't turn out too well. So now then it was batteries again. And so it was hydrogen, that's going to be big, and then now it's going to be wind farms on the sea. So they're going to move them out to sea, the wind turbines, and now it's ammonia that's in fashion. And I'm speaking English today, sending directly, and which will confuse my Norwegian followers. I've got almost 27 or 28,000 followers here in Norway, and I'm doing this because we're doing a little test for YouTube where we are also preparing an English speaking podcast. Because my Norwegian book, Climate Anticlimax is a difficult word. This is going to be published in English sooner or later, maybe next year, and with the name just Climate Counterpoint. The Climate Counterpoint. So this book, which is not about the climate, is about human psychology and mass psychology, where I'm sort of an expert. Why we do what we do and why we follow each other and why groupthink is actually killing reason in the EU. But today ammonia, and I brought along 2 Norwegian bottles of salmiak, which is ammonia, which is used for cleaning and removing fat. And ammonia is, so everyone knows the smell of an ammonia. So let's have a little smell. Oh my God. And they're going to fill every ship and every boat along the shore with this stuff. But, this smells rather strongly, but it's only 8% ammonia. 8%. And you take a small cap of it and put it in a bucket of water and you clean, and that's enough. So on the backs here, with 8% solution, it gives serious corrosion and on skin and eyes, and you can be irritated and your airways can block and you can die. And concentrated ammonia is so dangerous that it actually has a 300 meters security zone around the tanks or the production sites. It is a very, very ugly substance and a very bad thing to have, a bad thing to put on ships, because if the fuel is leaking on the ship, you actually have to move 300 meters away from the ship, which on the sea can be rather hard. So anyhow, so it's rather dangerous, but saving the planet is the most important thing, and everything else is immaterial. So let's do that. From 2015, all ships are going to drive on hydrogen, batteries, or ammonia. And, how smart is that? Well, not very smart. But why do they want this? Why do they want this stuff? Why is this the new oil? Why is this gonna replace diesel and oil for the big ships? Well, it's because ammonia contains a lot of hydrogen. Okay, the chemical formula is NH3, which means a nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms. So you actually have a lot of hydrogen inside ammonia, and it's much easier to handle than hydrogen, which is not so dangerous for the environment and skin and bones and eyes and airways and everything, nature. But hydrogen is extremely explosive, and I mean Hindenburg explosive dangerous. 10 times more willing to ignite than petrol. So, and it's very hard to handle. You have to freeze it or compress it to the ridiculous to make it floating. So hydrogen is actually not ideal. And therefore that is why this ugly substance is now turning up as a new salvation for us all. So if you put this into an engine, ammonia into an engine, there's a lot of hydrogen, mix it with oxygen, it burns and the ship moves along, and it doesn't actually release any CO2, which to some are very dangerous, but I don't know. I think I will prefer a little more CO2 than this stuff around. The Norwegian government has actually given 777 million kroner, which is approximately around $70 million or 70 million euros, to make this green shipping around Norway. And we produce a lot of ammonia here in Norway, but also around in Europe and America. Everywhere, because you use it as in fertilizer and you use it in chemical industry and so forth. So ammonia is pretty used. But now it's going to be, just here in Norway, which has an extremely long coastline, one of the world's longest coastlines, actually. There's going to be 16 projects, 16 big factories from north to south in Norway making ammonia. And one of these, that's the Australian company Fortescue, which has decided and made a contract for building one of the biggest factories for ammonia here in Bremanger in Sognefjorden on the west coast of Norway. And for this, they actually got 204 million euros from taxpayers in EU. And we're not even a member of EU, so thank you. And all this money is given to these people in Fortescue to build this factory and make all this ammonia, which maybe they will, or maybe they won't. You see, they're going to produce 225,000 tons, 225,000 tons of ammonia in this new factory, and that sounds like a lot. Now, the problem is that that's only enough for 7 big ships. 7 big ships. And that's going to take so much power to make that it actually have to build 4 modestly big hydroelectric power grids to make this work. Or coal fire, or you can also build gas power plants, but you don't want to do this here in Norway. They do it in Germany, and they say they're going to use them for hydrogen later, but they won't. Nope, they are using Norwegian petroleum gas to drive them. So that would be the logical thing to do, but you actually have to build power stations to make all this. You see, the hydrogen doesn't exist, okay? You have to make the hydrogen. Now that you have to do also with a hydrogen ship or a hydrogen car, right? The hydrogen isn't around, you have to make it. And to make it, you have to split water like this. Cheers. And that takes a lot of power to make hydrogen, but to make ammonia, you need even more power, because you have to take the hydrogen you make and you have to combine it with 1 nitrogen atoms, which actually is a process that takes 500 degrees Celsius and a lot of power, a lot of energy to use. So the energy loss is just absolutely mind-boggling, okay, to make all this. And the problem is they don't make these power stations. The power isn't there. Not even for the one. This Fortescue factory has they have a contract for 300 megawatts of power, electric power, or 2,628 terawatt hours. Okay, a year, 2,628 terawatt powers, and a modest hydroelectric dam produces around 700. So yeah, you need 4 of them to make 7 ships go. 7 ships. And the price for ammonia. Now the price for diesel or fossil fuel for these ships is around $240 a ton. All right, $240 or euros. That's whatever. And ammonia will cost around $1,000 per ton. Which you sound, all right, that 4 times is expensive. No, it isn't. Because you see, the power potential in diesel, all right, is 36.2 megajoules per liter. Okay, 36.2 megajoules. Diesel is, there are so many calories in diesel that if you drank it, you would be very fat. And in propane, there's 26.26 megajoules per liter. But in ammonia, 12.7 megajoules. So you actually have to use 3 times as much. For every liter you use of diesel, you have to use 3 liters of ammonia, which means that if you pay $240 for fossil fuel, $240 for a ton of fossil fuel, you have to pay $3,000 to make your ship go as far, to get the same energy out of your ship. Now, how smart is that? How smart is that? Who came up with this ridiculous idea and making this absolute horrible poison that will be too expensive, and we don't have the power to make it? And if we get the power to make it, everyone will sit in the darkness because it will suck all this power out of Norway and all the money from people. And if we want to build, but you can, of course, but then the politicians say, oh, no, of course, you can make wind power. Yeah. And who's going to pay for that? People. And wind power doesn't make power more than 30% of the time. So you need backup power, but they won't build backup power. So you just make an energy loss. And well, the math, that's the problem about the green shift. There's no math. There's no economy. There's no logic. And there's no understanding, okay, of what it actually takes to make all this new fantastic things that's going to be put into use in an extremely short time. So this is actually a threat to society. But what probably will happen is that the ammonia will never appear. The people will have grand plans and they will build say they will build everything, and oh yes, and sort of didn't work out. Like all the battery factories in Europe, or all the hydrogen plants around in America and everything. And as soon as the subsidies disappears, so does the businessman. Because this is swindle, simply. The green shift is a swindle, if you ask me. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi scam. They go in and say, yeah, we're going to build and build and build and build. Give us money. And they get money, and then their stock prices goes up, and the company is more worth because they get money for nothing. And when it turns out that they can't actually deliver on their promises, they disappear with the money. And no one, and EU actually has given so much money for this, like 207 million euros. And you don't have to pay the money back when you just say, nah, fuck it, we don't do it anyhow. It's irresistible. It's just irresistible to start up an ammonia factory, so you should do so too. Go to the government and say, I'm going to start an ammonia factory and I need millions of dollars. Yeah, that's That's how it is. So that's the new fashion wave. This is a fashion wave within the climate hysteria, and there will always come new when it turns out that this is not a very good idea anyhow, and it's dangerous and it's very expensive, and they actually no shipping magnet will actually use this thing because it's too expensive, and if they use it, then what will happen to the freight prices of everything from grain to food to stuff, furniture, cars? What will happen? Yeah, the prices will go up. And who will suffer? You. So I've written about the green shift and the climate issue for over 10 years now. And I have a lot of followers in Norway. And I think there's not a lot of people who is as critical as me and has seen the problems coming so early. And the problem with the mainstream press is that actually they tell you when they're going to start a new factory and then fantastic new opening and new vision, and everything's going to be very, very nice and over the rainbow. But they never show when things go bust. They don't tell you that. And that's why we have bloggers like me who actually sit here and tell you the facts and the math. Because the green shift, there is no math. There is no security in this. There is no functioning economics in it. And it's a threat to your life and your income and your stability in the future, which is much economically more dangerous than actually a bit hotter climate, which they say is very, very dangerous. But how did they know? It hasn't happened yet. They say, oh, it's going to be very bad in the future. Are you okay? How do you know? It hasn't happened yet. And no one knows where the climate will turn out. So I wrote a book about the climate. I wrote a Norwegian book about the climate hysteria, and not based on the climate science, because that is uninteresting. From what I say, they always discuss whether the climate is getting hotter, and they discuss whether it's our fault. And that's okay. But that's not interesting. It doesn't matter. Because if it gets hotter, then you have to do something to stop it. And the question is, does that work? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It doesn't work. So we should discuss the climate measures, all the measures done to stop the climate from, exploding or whatever is going to happen. And all those fine plans and all those grand schemes and everything, they don't work. It doesn't work. It's not going to be a hydrogen society. There's not going to be a hydrogen economy. It won't work. There's not going to be a ammonia society or it doesn't work. It doesn't work economically. So the politicians they don't have a calculator. I don't know why, but you should think that people in the treasury would say, oh, right, sorry, but this is 2 + 2 is giraffe. And I don't think that's a smart idea. And they actually did in Germany. Yeah, they did. They made 3 reports that said that building wind power is a very, 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 very bad idea and doesn't actually, the finances and the economics of it is just bullshit. And then they built more wind power because politicians don't know what they're doing. So, right. So, thank you for following. Follow me also here on Facebook, of course, where I usually podcast in Norwegian, which you don't understand. But if you want more of Kent's Counterpoint, then follow me on YouTube. I need more followers on YouTube. And all the films I've done for the last 3-4 years is on YouTube now. So you can see the reason. So thank you to all. And for my Norwegian friends, if you want to vips to me, 763-749, if you want to contribute to my blog, because then I can do this. And thank you so much to every one of you that is just giving a small share of your precious money for the job I do, because this is hard and this takes time, and the resistance. They sit with, what was it, 204 million euros I got nothing. Thank you.